Welcome to Lobster's list for September 15th, 2012. Number 1. Project Eternity from Obsidian Entertainment is a well-known game developer trying to fund its new IP. It will be a party-based RPG with real-time combat that you can pause, and an isometric view like many of the games they once worked on. You can pre-order the game at the $25 tier after all the $20 early bird slots are gone. Games filled with bugs on launch have been one of the symptoms of Obsidian Entertainment having a history of problems with traditional publishers. We'll have to wait until April 2014 to see if Kickstarter allowed them to release a more polished product. At the time of this recording, they are already past 50% towards a $1,100,000 goal, and it is looking like it will be another superstar campaign for the history books. Number 2. Sword of Fargoal 2 is a roguelike procedural dungeon crawler game. The first Sword of Fargoal game was released in 1982, and the Commodore 64 version is perhaps the most well-known. Behind this campaign is the original game's creator. Sword of Fargoal Legends is an award-winning remake for iOS already available on Apple's App Store. This project is making a reimagined Sword of Fargoal game with better music, more art assets, content, and polish than they could otherwise afford. At the $8 tier is the game on iOS, while the $15 tier is for the game on PC, Mac, or Linux. Number 3. Sealark, described as an Oceanic adventure game, is a project with a goal of just $5,000. In this game, the world has flooded, and you play as a girl named Dove, who may be the last fisherman remaining. There is a copy of the game at the $10 tier for PC, with Mac and Linux as platforms it might support if it reaches stretch goals. The pitch video has no talking and consists of just the girl on her boat. How that video really sells this game is the music it plays during it from a composer with the nickname Flashy Goodness. The $15 tier that adds a copy of the soundtrack has so far been popular, and at the time of this recording, it has quickly raised just over $2,000, with day one not even over yet. Number 4. Pangenic is a turn-based tactics game inspired by games like XCOM and Final Fantasy Tactics. It is set in an alternate history of the Victorian era where a disease is corrupting plants and animals. Control scientists and soldiers trying to contain and cure the mutagenic plague. There is a pre-order of the game for PC at the $15 tier. Having a mock-up is a nice touch that many other campaigns this early in development often lack. This game is from the developers of Robot Pinball Escape and Catball Eats All, so they have experience shipping games before. Number 5. Papier Adventure from Spycraft Studios is an adventure game with the visual style of sketches on paper. A boy learns there exists a special book for each person that tells his or her life story. He finds his own book to have pages missing and must set out on an adventure to recover them to rediscover who he is. It is being developed for PC, Mac, iOS, and Android. A pre-order for the game is at the $15 tier that gets you a copy for each of those platforms that you own. Now on to honorable mentions. Shimi is a robotic speaker dock for iOS and Android smartphones with a camera for facial recognition. It uses very quiet motors to emote, and it turns its head to follow someone around the room, so the 6-watt speakers are kept directed at them. Responding to voice commands is another feature, such as asking if a specific song is available. You can pre-order a Shimi for $149, which is $50 off the retail price. If it is being shipped outside of the USA, you need to add $20 to your pledge. There have been products like iDog before, but this is much more sophisticated. Because it uses the smartphone to run the software that controls it, and because an API will be released, there could soon be a hacking community to support this. Awesome Asian Bad Guys is a comedic action web series. The idea is similar to the Expendables movies, except with actors that have played Asian bad guys before in Hollywood films like Die Hard and Karate Kid 2. The project creators work with PBS Digital Studios, and I will link to their YouTube channel in this video's description. A $5 contribution will get your name listed on a website with other backers. R20 from Gretel Studios is a 3D animated film needing to cover costs such as rendering and hiring an additional animator. The premise is that a robot, in love with a human woman, wakes up confused and connected to a power source. It must decide if it will disconnect itself from that power source without fully knowing what will happen. The set pieces are being made as physical models, with the robot composited in later. $10 pledgers will get a download of the film and named in the credits, while $20 pledgers also get an art ebook. Sen Kai started as a how to draw manga series on YouTube that has been translated from English to Spanish and Portuguese, with 72 videos made so far. The project creators have come to Kickstarter seeking $1,880 to publish their debut manga. You can get a postcard at the $5 tier, while the $15 tier has 8 postcards. For $25, you can get a PDF of the first 3 chapters and the 8 postcards. A separate $25 tier is for the physical copy of the first 3 chapters without the postcards. If you want both physical copies of the chapters and the postcards, you need to back at $45 or more. Thank you for watching, and I hope this helps those projects.